Hello, I'm here with Grace O'Sullivan today, MEP, and we're really delighted to welcome you here. We've had some very interesting conversations with our group of young people, and they're very involved, obviously, in climate justice, but in advocacy more generally. So, my first question for you is how do you feel, I suppose, about the future of advocacy and the future of climate justice after talking to the young people here today?
Well, I suppose, Alannah, that for me, advocacy is enormously important. People need to hear the issues of young people and of the youth. And I mean, Corlin and Oak, YMCA, your organisations have a great platform, and you have resources, and you have that opportunity to express your interests and your needs. And for politicians like myself in the European Parliament, it's really important that we hear what you're saying and that we reflect that in the work we're doing and we reflect it in the legislation. Because in the end, we're in a very strange time for humanity. We're in a climate emergency here across the globe. We're currently just going through a COVID pandemic. So there's all of the health restrictions around that, but also the challenges of communication and advocacy. So we had to use Zoom and different mechanisms like that and be creative. And of course, we currently have the atrocities of the war in Ukraine. So the voices of the youth are absolutely critical. And I would hope that you would never think that you do not have an opportunity to have your voices heard, particularly here in Ireland. So I would really appeal to you to use your voice, use advocacy amongst the local authority, amongst politicians, and whoever that you think will be receptive to your voices, and to use advocacy as a huge and important tool.
You talked a lot there, I suppose, about everything that's going on in the world at the moment, from Ukraine to the COVID pandemic to climate change. Do you think the interconnectedness between all of those different challenges are really being recognized, as in the challenges, the connections between food security perhaps and what's going on in Ukraine, and the connection then between that and climate change?
Yeah, I think food security is huge now, because we have seen here in Ireland and across Europe how reliant we were on different countries to supply food to us. Like the Ukraine has been a very important market, our supplier of grain to the European market. But we also saw, in terms of energy, that a lot of the gas and the oil uh, supplies to a number of the European countries, particularly Germany, Italy, Austria, they rely on Russia, the Russian Federation. And you have probably heard the same as I have, that like if we keep taking energy supplies from the Russian Federation, that in essence we're paying for the weaponry and the economics of Russia being able to cause these huge problems in Ukraine. So we have to have shorter supply chains, and they're better for the climate. So in a country like Ireland, we really need to look at growing more foods for ourselves, more farmers market, more organic, healthy food. And for me, it would be great to see the government put in more and more mechanisms to ensure that we have good quality food grown here in Ireland that's also affordable and that you can get locally, so that we don't have to go to supermarket, and particularly the big multiples like Lidl, Tesco, Aldi. And every time you want to buy a piece of fruit or something, and just look where it comes from. Like it's coming from, Colombia, it's coming from South Africa, it's coming from very, very far away. And a lot of these foods we can actually grow, not the exotics, but a lot of the good basic foods we can grow here in our own country. But that means we have to change our model of agriculture, and we have to have more regenerative agriculture that actually is good for supporting biodiversity as well.
I know love of the water and of the sea is something that's really important to you. Do you feel like that feeds in a lot into your work?
Completely. I mean, I'm energized by the sea and the waves and the smell of the ocean, and the feeling of the sand on my feet. So, like I'm spend a number of weeks in Strasbourg or in Brussels, but always when I come back to Tremor, which is my home, I go for a dip in the sea, winter and summer. And I often say to people that when I walk into the sea in my swimsuit, it mightn't be a pretty sight, but anyway, I'm going to do it. But anyway, I go in, and like now we're in April, but even in March or so, and I just walk in there and I just feel the sea and the water around me. And it's icy cold, you know, it's very cold. But I just feel that all my troubles just float away in the water. And when I come out, and I literally only run in and maybe spend a minute or so and run back out again, but then I just feel like a new person. So I think it's really important that each of us understand for ourselves what regenerates us, what keeps us healthy. And there's a lot of pressures, and I know on the youth at the moment, there's so many pressures. And I think it's really important that we build resilience. And it's up to every individual to find out what it is that keeps them going and to try to help to build the resilience. And then more than that, we have to, within our communities and within our groups like YMCA here, work together and, you know, out of respect, but also do our best to support each other, because, you know, it's that's what builds community, and that's what I think is important to help us get through every day of our lives and to contribute to society as well.
And my last question for you now, what advice would you have for young people, I suppose, looking at you here today in admiration and wondering how they can achieve what you have?
I think the most important is to, you know, like do things incrementally, so step by step. So don't, I mean, carve out like or have your vision, your pathway where you want to go, and then just gently work step by step towards your pathway. But like I'm, you know, I've had a long and interesting life, but a lot of things just came my way. And as I was saying to all of you earlier, you know, when a door opens for you, you have to evaluate and decide if you want to go through. But my wish for people is to test the waters, go and try new things and experiment new options, and for me life is you know, it's interesting because like I'm involved in community stuff in Tremor, I'm involved in my family, you know, and I think it's nice if you get involved in different things and take opportunities as they come, but most of all just mind yourself and respect each other.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.